Good morning. Okay, last call for coffee and we'll get started. So morning and welcome. My name is Alan Winter. I think I've met a lot of you coming in, and welcome to this winter symposium. Contrary to some people's expectations, this is because it is the winter season. This is not my symposium per se, but it's one that has been a particularly important one to us over the years, and one we're very glad to see you here. Out of this symposium has come often sparked ideas for future projects, future directions that Genome BC will go. So we look forward to your participation. To welcome us here today, I'm going to ask Alan Pelman to come forward. Dr. Alan Pelman is chair of our board. Alan was senior vice president of Weyerhaeuser for technology, and before that, president of Power Tech Labs, and has been involved in a number of the federal government committees, Council of Science and Tech Advisors, and so on, involved with research. So well qualified to provide guidance and direction to Genome BC at this time. So over to you, Alan.
Thanks, Alan, and again on behalf of the board, I guess, and really on behalf of the whole Genome BC organization, I'd like to also welcome you here today. I hadn't thought of the comment that Alan had made today about the name of the symposium, but it's actually something to think about. Maybe a few years from now it will be known as the Symposium for other reasons. Who knows? We'll see. Anyways, hearty welcome to you, particularly on this little blustery, little windy day. Took the Canada line down here today, and on the train, not a problem at all. We were sort of squeezing in, but getting to the train was a little bit messy. So I'm sure a few of you have gone through a similar situation. I think most of you, if not almost all of you in the audience today, are actively involved in Genome BC project, so you're very much in this game. Understand very well Genome BC history. I think we'll probably hear a little bit more about that. As you know, we're into the third 5-year cycle, or the strategic plan, if you like, of Genome BC. So the organization has certainly been around and is doing its evolving thing. And the theme for today is certainly very much part of that focus as we move closer and closer to translation. Not to take away from the discovery or the research side at all, but recognizing more and more that finding ways to get the results from the research work out into let's call it the beneficial side is extremely important for us. And hopefully today we do some good exchange, some good learning around that particular topic. So again, welcome, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Alan. It's also a privilege to introduce Brad Popovich, who doesn't need really much introduction to this group, our Chief Scientific Officer, but just a couple of things that are important. One is that Brad was Vice Chair of our board and took on the role of Chief Scientific Officer, over which we're very pleased. He and Sally Greenwood and the staff have put on this symposium, and thank you to Brad, to Sally, and the staff for doing that. Brad also has experience both on the academic side of the business as well as on the business side. So in the academic side in San Diego and in Oregon, and then coming up to Canada, he gets involved with both Xenon Pharmaceutical and Sirius Genomics. Brad has a lot of experience on both sides of this translation issue. And I'll ask Brad now to essentially run the meeting from this stage forward, but welcome to each of you, and over to Brad.
Alan Pelman, Alan Winter, thank you very much for the introductions, and so welcome everybody. Pleasure to be here and to see all of you and for our 2012 Winter Symposium. So a couple things I'd just like to say just before introducing our keynote. You can see that we've revised the format slightly to what we're doing for the sessions, both this morning, our personalized medicine kind of session, and then our afternoon sessions on bioinformatics, and then aquaculture and fisheries. And so what we've done in both of these is, or all three of these, is we actually brought in an expert to moderate the session and to kind of guide the Q&A at the end of the session. So it's a bit of a different format. We're going to be really curious about what you all think about this format, and that's just a segue for me to say, please fill out your evaluations. We're really counting on you to do that. And I'm going to remind you again to do that. The other thing is we have a really full agenda. And maybe we've kind of, I feel, slightly guilty that we've really packed this day. It's from now to 5, and really with small breaks for lunch and coffee and bio breaks and so on. So it's going to be a full session. So I really ask, in particular, the speakers that we're really going to be fairly ruthless about keeping you on time. And so there'll be somebody that's going to give you kind of a bit of a warning and just ask. And if I stand up, it really means that the time is up. And I won't do that unless it's necessary. But we really do need to keep things on track. So with that, then, I'd like to just tell you about our first speaker. So it's a real pleasure that Les Levin is able to join us from Ontario, and flew out last night and is going to have to return today. But Les is a person that many of us got to know at a summit that was held by Genome Canada in Montreal this past fall. And Dr. Levin is a professor in the Department of Medicine at the University of Toronto. He's a senior consultant in medical oncology at Princess Margaret Hospital. And he was previously the professor and chair of the Department of Oncology at University of Western Ontario and the CEO of that regional cancer center. Now, Les's expertise, though, is really quite interesting. It's an evidence basis for kind of integration of technologies into the health system. And, this is something that many of us have been exposed to. But I must say, it's been, to my way of thinking, somewhat difficult to understand the hurdles that are being placed by the health authorities at times with the degree of evidence, or for that matter, the regulatory agencies. And I must say, when Les spoke to a group in Montreal, this all became very lucid to me. And so it's our privilege today to have Les, who will moderate the session. And his keynote is going to be, is entitled Personalized Medicine, the Alignment Between Great Expectations, Evidence, and Policy. So please help me in welcoming Dr. Les Levin.